The Pastime dialogue.
Okay, today's show is not a dialogue, but rather a Martyn's monologue. I'm just going to be talking about a recent interview on sportscardradio.com and also looking at the All-Star game, the voting of such. No LeBron talk on here. We'll also talk some baseball cards and the World Cup, and Germany winning the 2014 FIFA World Cup in Brazil. Okay, so let's start off with the negative, and I recently listened to show number 157 of the sportscardradio.com podcast, hosted by a good friend of mine, although we've never met, Colin, and he had a full interview. The whole podcast was an interview with a razzer, a filler, a group breaker, which is interesting. Colin has been looking at this and knows how they operate, and how they operate is illegal, and he's had a lot of stick. Basically, we could say that Colin's main point was that the person was asking people to pay gift. Now, it's harder to get your money back, and it avoids fees being paid in gift than as an actual goods. It's a very, well, check it out yourself. I'll be posting the link on the site with the podcast. It is a very, well, it's a shit interview, and basically this guy thought he'd come on and maybe have a little fun at Colin's expense, and the amount of swear words, you only use swear words in 4 instances. Number 1, frustration. Number 2, defence. Number 3, passion. And number 4 is if you're brought up. Well, you're not brought up, you're dragged up. This guy was effing, shitting, every fucking thing else, and he was not answering any questions. He just came on there. I mean, I think Colin just thought, why not throw it up? But the guy came on and all he wanted to do was attack Colin, and fair enough, you can attack Colin, but if you're going to get personal, leave it at that single fucking person. Do not bring in any other people. Okay? Now, the lowest form of wit is not sarcasm. It is just being a complete and utter cunt. And I'll say that. Now, I'll have to put a rated whatever it is on this site. But basically, fillers, razzers, group breakers, Well, there's good group breakers, and there's bad group breakers. Good group breakers accept credit cards and only accept PayPal as goods, not gift. Okay. Unless you're splitting a box with a friend who you've met and you're just sending some, that's fair. But when you're trying to make money off people and having things sent gift, now the good group breakers don't need to advertise. It's word of mouth. I put the banner up for mojobreak.com just out of thank you for allowing me to basically get cards, being that I'm international. And I just threw that banner up. It took me 2 minutes, and it was just as a thank you. And so obviously if you want to click on it, it takes you straight to this site. They're great guys. They do offers, they do free breaks, they reward their loyal customers and the card collectors. Now a razzer basically sits on webcam all day and deals with $10 cards. They basically get cards and they'll raffle, and basically any form of gambling on the internet is basically illegal unless it is through an official bookmaker who pays tax in whatever, has a registered tax number. So whether you're going on williamhills.com or you're striking a bet in Vegas, which is something of a point, I'd like to point out that I hate in-play betting. That is open to so much abuse, and I think that group breaking and razzies are basically in-play betting. You're actually betting on a non-physical commodity. Baseball cards are a commodity. They're not a rare commodity, but it's still a commodity. Now, if you join a break, read the rules. Okay. Now, the one way to make group breaking legal is to actually have it judged illegal in court, and the reasons why it is illegal would help you make it legal. Now, because it's not physical, there would have to be 3 points. First of all, there'd have to be seals on the box, the cellophane. Number 2, you would have to have a continuous live feed. And number 3, there would have to be a clock, an actual physical clock on the live feed with the time. And on when you bought them, there would have to be a link to a checklist and the list of odds copied from what is on the box or boxes that you were involved in, so that you could look at the odds and you could do the research as how many Philadelphia Phillies, how many New York Yankees hits, base cards, parallels. Now, baseball cards are in essence shit. I like them, but what are they? Basically they're the same size as a card from a local minicab taxi. Basically they're printed on like that. The only difference is that it's a picture of a baseball player, and on the back usually stats or a little bio, and then you get autographs and pieces of the jersey. So don't kid yourselves. These cards, in the entirety of life, they didn't exist at the beginning of time, and nobody will give a fuck about them at the end of time. But it's all about enjoying life. If you have spare money and you enjoy a certain game, a certain team, a certain player, why not spend your time trying to find cards of Cole Hamels, Billy Hamilton, Troy Tulowitzki? They'll just be things to add to your enjoyment of the game and of the sport. Okay.
You are listening to the Pastime Dialogues.
So let's jump straight into the All-Star game. Sadly, me and Simon haven't had time to record together, that's why it's a monologue. And we have views on the All-Star game. It's a very American thing, is the All-Star game. It just wouldn't happen in Great Britain, really. Over here it'd be mainly more charity-wise, village fete. Simon's against the All-Star game. I'm for it with criteria. I think that the All-Star voting happens too early. Now, I think that's... obviously you don't want everybody to just have 1 week, and if one guy hits 5 home runs in 7-8 days, then they're going to jump straight in, even though they've not hit any over the past 90 games. Now, every team has played 94-95 games. That's 58% of the season of games has already been played. So on that basis, I think that there should be a minimum for starting pitchers of 95 innings pitched, for relief a minimum of 35 innings pitched, and for batters a minimum of 275 at-bats. Now that would be 2.9 at-bats in every game for the batter, and it would be an inning per game played by the team for the starters, which I don't think is a bad criteria. I think the All-Star game is a bit of a joke with some players, obviously, if they play on the Sunday, and they'd rather help the team than be at the All-Star game. I think there wasn't much competition for shortstop in the American League, which is why Derek Jeter had his final hurrah. And the applause, I think it was a little too much. Obviously I'm a Red Sox fan, but I think it was a little too much. Don't do it straight at bat unless it's his last ever game, and that would be at Yankee Stadium. Okay, it's his last All-Star game, but we're not just here to see Jeter. We're not just here to see the captain, number 2. People are there to see Justin Moynihan return, albeit for the National League with the Colorado Rockies. You had other people there that people want to see: Yasiel Puig, Mike Trout, Clayton Kershaw. So yeah, I think the All-Star game voting needs to have a smaller window and have criteria set up. Obviously not your 95 innings pitched at the time, but if you're going to open voting, I would open it at after 60 games, and so your criteria would be less. You'd need 60 innings pitched, you'd need 200 at-bats, you would need 25 innings pitched for a relief pitcher. I'll admit, I didn't watch every inning. I watched the start, I watched the end, I watched all of the home run derby. I think Jose Bautista crushed a few, and, well, looking at the total, I think they raised nearly $500,000 for good causes, which is a very, very good thing, and I think that's something to be applauded by the Commissioner, Bud Selig. So let's move straight on. 2014